open boxes to do quick. Get this started out. My desk seems a little bit dirty from the camera. We did finally order a new camera and we have new lighting. So we're going to move this into a new direction. Probably a little bit more visual. Still going to have more of the educational aspect of, hey, this is, you know, these are notes, this is where we're getting them from, etc., etc. There's so much shadows here. Hopefully with the new cameras we'll be able to alleviate some of that, because look how much glare you just barely get. These are my grading light bulbs that I use for grading paper money. Contrary to belief, when you do grade paper money, I'm trying to find, I have tons of notes here raw, so the more light you can get on a note and the angle, you can see fold lines. And then it also depends on grade too, so when it boils it down by grade, like this note would be like a VF25, VF30. When you get into AU and uncirculated, sometimes the more light you have will help you see like minor things that would cause a note to not grade as high, like a corner bend, or maybe like pack wax or pack glue. Pack glue is pretty common. You'll see it on, I just happen to have a pack here. You'll see a lot of pack glue residue from the old days when they put the bands on the packs. And what happened was it would get a little bit of the glue on the top edge of the note and or the face. The glue can be removed or conserved from the note pretty easily with some, you know, with a little bit of professional pizzazz, but sometimes it will stain the note, and that small stain will keep a note from EPQ. If the stain is in the top edge of the note, they don't normally disqualify the note for EPQ, because that was, a lot of packs have that from the early, you know, from early on, like the 1920s, 1930s packs. I've probably handled more early packs than most dealers, so contrary to belief, like, you know, making a high grade 1930s series note is actually a challenge, because the packs really don't come that nice. It's just, it was how the sheets were set up on the presses. They printed the backs first, then they flipped them over. There was so much handling and the subject sheets, so, you know, to say that you had a 1934 pack grade all 6s and 7s, I would argue, because it would be extremely rare scenario. They usually come like 3, 4, or 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 6, or it's very hard to make a true 7. And I'm, you know, I am a firm believer a lot of the 7s out there have been manipulated a little bit as well. So here it is. This is a really cool sub. I did see the grades. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely excited to show you the top note. I could see the note through the plastic. If you can't see the note, here's the note. The note is 100% a National Bank note. $5 Lincoln. Over here you can see some of the, here, if I peel this back, you can start to see the layers. I bought this note. I know where I got it. I know who I got it from. I know where, you know. I tend to remember notes that are probably a little bit more juicier than others. So you, like, when you're buying a deal, like most dealers would have passed at this note at this price, and I was pretty yeah, sure, I think that'll work, you know. And it was a great deal for both parties. So, you know, he got overpaid for his note raw, and I knew that I was going to make some money. And if you hear thunder and lightning, we're finally getting rain. Oh my, it's been so dry here and pretty crazy. So, okay, without further ado, here is the this is the moment of moments. This doesn't happen very often in currency. This would be an anomaly. It's happened to me twice this year, so to say that I've made this grade 2 times on a national banknote is spectacular. To say that I made this note in this grade on a type 2 is even more wild. Type 2s, they're very short-lived. I think they printed 33 to 35. Most banks probably issued less than 300 sheets. If you were looking at like maybe Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, you know, just hardy corn-fed Midwest states, I would say a lot of those banks probably issued less than 200 sheets. Now, if it was a 14,000 series or 13,000 series charter where they just got in the game late and that's all they were issuing, then yeah, they would probably issue 300 to 500 sheets. But here it is. There's the big whammy. Lake Village, Arkansas, type 2 with a repeater serial number. Serial number, well, it's not a repeater, it's kind of like a semi-radar, but it's pretty cool note. This bank is seen a lot in 65s and 66s pretty regularly. I paid more than 66 money for this note. I felt like it had some potential. As you could see, this note's extremely original. The face margins alone scream 69 or 70. The back margins are just, I mean, this note is flawless. A lot of people would ask, you know, what would this note cross a PMG? What is their standard? I grade notes with my standard, and my standard is the faceplate and the backplate registration have to align front to back, so you have what they call an equal margin set. Equal margin set means that on the face you have nice squared off look, and then you flip it around to the back and you have a nice squared off look. And then the registration means up and down, left and right, front to back, so you can peer through the note and see the face registration of the note. I believe in this note. This note 100% is an accurate grade. I can usually look through notes and pick out the best note within seconds just based on face margins and registration. So I'm not chasing high grades. That's not my job. My job is to make grades and also make notes that people would want to buy. With that being said, if I made like 1,000 silver certificates in 64, I would have wasted a bunch of money because the notes raw are worth, you know, $6 to $10, and then I'm gonna put like $13 in grading in them. 64s aren't, you know, they're worth like $15 graded, so it's not conducive of my time or my energy. But to make a silver certificate in 66 where there's a market for them, or 67 or even 68s, and you know, every once in a while you'll get to make a 69, then absolutely it's conducive for me to make those grades and sort those notes. But here it is, great note, 68 PPQ, top pop for the charter. There is other 68 PPQ type 2 5s. Corning, Iowa has one, I believe. Not as cool of a serial number, but it is what it is. Moving on, Gearing, Nebraska, type 210 and 63. This would be the finest known for the bank. Nebraska City 50 with a flipper serial. This is a really good note. This is VF30. It has a little bit of wallet staining around the edges. from my experience with handling notes from this bank, they all seem to have some wallet staining. I'm kind of wondering if they didn't all come out of the same place. But there you go, Flipper Serial 69. These notes are ex-Jerome Walton's, so he was a good friend of mine, big Nebraska collector. Here's a Elgin VF30. Neat thing about this note is the president was Carrie McBride, who is a female. Kind of a rarity for the times. You didn't really see women bank officers very often, especially presidents. You've seen them as cashiers, but not very often as presidents. FR39 and AU55, no comments. FR36 and 63, no Q. These notes are hard to get EPQ because a lot of times they have, like this one has a small corner issue. It just is what it is, you know. You can't change it. It just is what it is. Here's one in 64, same thing, small little corner issue. They're probably consecutive. They are consecutive, so that tells the story. Do I have, wow, I have the whole cut sheet here. 634, here's a 58 EPQ. And then a 55 EPQ. PPQ, EPQ. And here's another one, 64 flat. Just kind of looking at them quick. Same thing, a little bit of corner handling. It's just, it all comes down to storage sometimes. If notes weren't stored correctly, the handling gets them almost every time. Here's a good looking FR92 at the public engraving error. And 40. So on the back of the note where it says, for all things public and private, they spelled public instead of PU, they spelled it PC. Here's a FR26 and 64 EPQ. Nice full margins all the way around the note. Really great color. Again, if the color sometimes looks obscure in the videos, it's because PCGS puts a film on these notes, and the film is right here, and I pull them all off. They're gonna fall off in my inventory anyways, but you know, watch the color, watch the color difference of that red. It's way brighter. So here's a 1918 and VF35. Nice bright note. Note really looks XF. I mean, note's nice. Full. It has like a double or tri-fold line through the middle, so that hurts it. This is the notorious battleship. So the whole series has a battleship on the front and the back. Or on the back, not on the front. The front would always feature Thomas Jefferson and the Federal Reserve Bank. The back all has the same battleship. Here's a 1901-10 and fine 15. Just an honest original note. No comments. Here's a 224 and 35. It's a really fresh looking clean note also. It's a 277 Chief and 25. No comments. Small little speck of dirt up here at the top. Yeah, I don't know. Probably from an old paper clip or something. It's not rust, so. There's a 1899 5 and VF30. Really nice. Nice. The green really pops on this note. It's really, really deep. Here's a 1880-10. They call this note the Jackass, and the reason is because if you flip the note upside down, the eagle looks like a donkey. You can see it right there. So the appropriate term for a male donkey, I believe, is a jackass. I know there's no cursing on YouTube, so I think you can get away with saying jackass, I hope. But that's just a term for the note. Pretty original note. I actually bought this note as a fine 15. I knew it wasn't going to be F20, ink chatters, and a portrait. It's the note's not all there, but it's a very nice, appealing fine 15. So 851A and 64. It's a cool note. It's a little bit minor paper toning, but it's okay. You know, it's okay. And I wouldn't say minor paper. It's just the front is really bright. On the back, you observe on some of these almost have a lighter, creamy colored paper. That's what I meant by minor paper toning. Here's a really cool note. This is a inverted back T52 Confederate 10. So there's the back of the note. There's the face of the note. Back of the note. Face of the note. Back of the note. Face of the note. Cool. $500 Confederate. Cool serial. Semi-ladder. 876 instead of 678. And VF20. This wonky cut is as issued. So imagine somebody was in a hurry that day and they were chomp with the scissors and just didn't work out. Great note, super collectible, popular with a lot of different collectors, not just Civil War people either, because of the denomination, the history behind it, serial number, people collect serial numbers, etc., etc. Now we're into some nationals. San Francisco Brownback 5, super nice original signatures, unmolested original, choice fine 15, no comments, bright color. Somebody's gonna love this note. This, in the national banknote world, this note has everything you want it to have. Great signatures, good eye appeal, circulated, problem free, stood the test of time. Is it a common town? Yes. Is it a common state? And kind of, but the type is undeniable. This is not just going to appeal to to California people. It's also going to appeal to people who collect states, people who collect $5 brownbacks. It's just a nice note, easy to sell. This note, however, is not that nice. It has some rust stains, but it has an amazing signature for an East Coast bank. This would be Boston. This is a little bit better bank, but you can see the rust dots. This note doesn't constitute the cost of getting it conserved. It's just a nice original piece. Somebody will love it. It is what it is. Hanover, New York, another nice peachy $5 brownback with nice signatures and a neat title block. This would be, I believe, an earlier charter as well because of where the signature place, or earlier Friedberg because of where the signature placements are. Nice red-brown seal. Solid back. VF25, great note. St. Louis, date back 5. This is actually a little bit tougher type for the town. Really great signatures. A little bit of a vanity swoop in there, and great color. One thing about Nationals and PCGS, absolutely nails the grade. I tend to be a touch conservative when I grade Nationals, and you know, this note's got the eye appeal of a 25. 100% is a 20 just based on circulation wear. I think their finalizers nail the grades on Nationals without a doubt. Here's a VG10 red seal in Los Angeles. Little bit of a corner chip. I expect to see that commented. No comment. So they're saying that's acceptable for a VG to have a corner chip. It does not protrude into the design. So, you know, it does have, I don't know. It does have nice signatures for a VG8, well, VG8, VG10. It is not a replacement because it starts with the A prefix. So, another red seal. This one is on the City of New York, the Fourth National Bank. Once again, lots of eye appeal. Great pin sigs. They grade this note a VF20. I called this note Fine 15 VF20. It does have good eye appeal. That's probably, so a lot of people say eye appeal doesn't count towards grade. If you have a note that's visually, or that feels like a Fine 15 but looks like a VF20, most of the time they're just going to VF20 it. You know, Fine 15 would have more ink rub, probably more hard ink breaks. This note, without a doubt, has great eye appeal, so they called it a 20. Look at those signatures. They stood the test of time, and it's a red seal. So, next one, a date back, or a brown back from Dayton, Ohio, graded Fine 15. This note also has really good eye appeal, bright red seal, intact signatures, so that means something. They did notate minor edge split. It's up in the top margin. You know, this town for some reason is incredibly tough for brown backs. So it's actually going to a customer of mine. I told him I would buy the note, get it graded, and we'd work something out. It's his hometown, so he can appreciate it. Alton, Illinois, 1882 value back. I'm sure somebody's going to message me later and say I pronounced Alton wrong. It's probably like Alton, or, you know. Citizens National Bank, value back. Value back's an incredibly tough type for the entire United States. The neat thing about this particular note is that it has intact stamp signatures. This one's really easy to read. It looks like Georgia M. Lewis. But great type, great note. Doesn't come available very often. You can just see, which is kind of unique, but it looks like sheet numbers at the very top. So it could have been a D plate top note. So that's pretty cool. Another red seal, City of New York. I know, a bunch of common state red seals. Lots of eye appeal. Heavy pin sigs. Graded Fine 12. Little bit of paper toning. This note, you know, this note was going to be a fine all day. Fine 12, Fine 15, doesn't matter on a national of this caliber, because the signatures and the red seal make this note. This is the, I believe they call it the Phoenix, or Phoenix, National Bank of New York City as well, in Fine 15 red seal. Heavy presidential signature. I mean, this dude was just, he was in love with signing notes. This is what makes me excited about nationals, is the enthusiasm that went into every note. You could see the top note was even signed just as hard as this note. Fine 15, comment free, just a really nice red seal. Scottsbluff, Nebraska, and VF30, super nice note, nice stamp sigs, bright paper. date back to boot, so it's a better type for the state. Great note. I've been looking. So the other day, I was at the A&A, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you got any interesting Minnesota notes?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have a St. Cloud note." And he's like, "Well, I would be really interested in seeing that." And I dug and dug and dug and dug and dug, and I thought, "Where's this note? Can't find it." Well, somebody shipped it to grading and forgot about it. Serial 7779, so almost solid serial. You can still see a remainder of the original stamp signatures. It does have a corner chip or tear. That part hurts it a little bit. The town is just a better town. They notated missing corner. It is what it is, but it's a great note, great town. Really cool serial number, almost all the way there. I graded this note fine 15, missing corner. They graded it fine 15, missing corner. It's more about, a lot of dealers wouldn't have graded this note. They would have just said it's damaged. For me, it's more about handling. People want to touch notes when you go to shows. They want to like smell them. Once I sell this to you in a holder, I don't care what you do with it. If you want to cut it out and play with it, that's up to you. But for me, it's a liability reason. I just can't have people touching everything that I have. I have way too many notes in inventory to say, "Hey, come on over and sniff my notes." Okema, Oklahoma. I'm sure somebody is going to tell me I pronounced that wrong. It's probably Okema. But here in the Midwest, in my hometown, I call that Okema. So, fine 12. Just a better state for large size type. So this note will probably sell really, really quick, just because it's Oklahoma. Some remnants of the original purple stamp signatures are still there. There's probably enough there that if you were to blacklight the note, you could figure out who signed it. Just a small hint of rust in the top right corner. Wasn't notated. It's probably not enough to worry about. This note is what I call a fold over lick and tear note, because the top is 100% tore. So this note was folded, licked, and torn off the edge of a desk like you would a piece of paper, and that was how it was issued. It's just very fuzzy. It's not a very straight cut. This note's kind of a bummer. It's a 100%. This is a great note. I'm not going to discount it. I didn't see the corner repair when I bought the note, but it's not that noticeable until you really start looking at the note. And most people are going to look at that note and they're going to see wonky cut, and instantly they're going to be like, "Oh, it's wonky cut." And then they're going to look at the serial number 6667, 1 digit off from being solid. I've had that a couple times now. Then they're going to be like, "Man, look at those signatures. Wow, that 50 really has some eye appeal." And then they're going to go details, and they're going to go corner tip replaced. But then you're going to look at the back and you're going to go, "Well, that doesn't really look terrible." Yeah, until you get this big orange blurb. It kind of looks like tape residue, to be honest. But on the face of the note, you can see, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, right there, 100% replaced. And I think it's the original corner. They just did a botched job of putting it back on there. Anywho, I didn't get super crazy when I bought it. I don't think I'm going to lose money. I just don't think I'm going to make, my normal margins. Still a great note to have on hand. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next box. I'm telling you, this is some of the juiciest of juicies. This is a great live event. If you're watching, that's awesome. That means you got up early. You have no life like myself. And, I get up at like 5 a.m. every day. So, anywho, moving on. I cut this one already, but look, hey, it's sealed, and look what's on top. Hopefully you know what that is. The boss man's here, so we're gonna let him in. He'll probably say something. Let's go. Another open. Unwrap. There's the dog. Big old stack.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right off the bat, 1187 and VF20. Easy note. $11.73 VF25. So this tier would be like, I have to look on. They have different names for them. Not economy. They're not the same as PMG. Regular tier maybe. I don't know. Value. It's called the value tier. So notes worth over $300. Most of the reason why I would send these notes in under value instead of bulk is I want the notes back quicker. They're easier to sell. I can put like $8 more in them, have them back within, you know, four to 6 weeks, and then I have, so my inventory turns quicker on my best materials. Basically what I'm saying. Like right now I don't have any gold certificates in stock, and I'm on, you know, 3 notes in. I got 3 gold certificates. They're gonna go up. They'll sell very quickly. Here's another 1173 in VF30. Here's 1173 and 35. Seems like I put all my eggs in one basket on this order. Here's 1172. This is a 1907 series, so this is a little bit better series, especially with T.E. Burke signatures. So I know it's graded fine 15. Here's another 1907 series. This one's VF30. A little bit of paper toning in the top right corner, not notated, but the note has great eye appeal. It has the look of a 35, but like I said, that top edge is probably holding it back a little bit. Here's an 1173 and 40. Just tough notes to keep in stock. I think 40s right now are like $800 retail, so we like making XFs. Doesn't happen nearly enough. Wood chopper, comment free, 30. Another wood chopper, 25. Here's something I was telling someone the other day. Between the series of, this is a perfect example. Look at the color of green between the backs of the wood choppers. So FR91 and this other one's a earlier one, FR84. The blacks are darker on the earlier series, and so are the greens. So whenever you're looking at wood choppers, you can tell right away by looking at the color of the ink if you're looking at, you know, a better signature combo, just because of the inks. The inks on the earlier Friedbergs are a lot more like the 1880 series. And then just stuff. FR37 and 25. Don't know why that note's in there for being a value. I might have got that one mixed up. Oops. 1918 1 and 40. Couple hard folds in the back. 1918 and 35. Richmond, great district. 1899 silver shirt and 25. Now this might have been a bulk order. This doesn't seem like something I would have put in value. 1899 and 25. Another one of them. Here's another ugly 1899 and 25. This they notated stained. It's 100% has some wallet staining on the left of the eagle. 236 and 40. 235 and 25. Minor edge split at the top, not notated. You can, it's pretty visual. 235 and BF30. 234 mule and fine 12. Just a problem-free original Black Eagle. It's really hard to find them in low grade and not have like a ton of issues. So this was kind of a cool note to certify. 232 and 35. Nice bright colors. 232 and 30. 232 and 15. Again, just a problem-free circulated Black Eagle. They're tougher than one would think to find. A lot of the times the lower grades have edge splits, minor staining, minor rust. 228. My favorite Friedbergs are 226 through 229. The paper and the look of the note is completely different. This one has a minor edge tear. It's up here in the top left corner. Looks like from an old paper clip. Still a good note, even with the minor issues. It's still a pretty decent note in that Friedberg. So 229 and 25, another one of my favorites. Silver certificate, 1896 educational, and VF20. Just a solid circulated note. 351 and fine 15. Another 351 and fine 15. T13 is a pretty awesome Confederate. It's $100 and 25. It's not seen very often, and the paper is always this kind of brown, like lunch bag looking paper. T1820. So if you're shopping for Confederates and you see 1861 series and you say, hey, I want bright white paper, that doesn't. There is some really super white examples out there, but the majority of them have this lunch paper bag look. So that's just how they come. T69 and 25. T68 and 25. Oh, the 39 with contemporary annotations. Something to do with the military. 1923 CSC, something Vanderbilt Avenue, New York. Good luck. Kind of neat. Somebody'll figure it out. T69 and 30. T68 and 35. Great. I was running out of these. Now I have more. T68 and 30. T67, 20. This is as-made ink. So they didn't notate it as made ink, but that is 100% as-made ink. T67 and 25. Oh, 72 and 53. It's called the sweet potato dinner. I think I've explained this before, but these are, the scene is from the Revolutionary War, and they're eating sweet potatoes. So it's called the sweet potato dinner. The Baton Rouge, Louisiana, parish of East Baton Rouge, 30. Nice looking note. I don't know anything about that note. Must be a little bit better. Vicksburg, Mississippi, Southern Railroad Company, choice fine 15. On the back is recycled paper. So Natchez, Mississippi, VF20. Again, printed on this actually printed on the back of a bond, it looks like, from New York. So recycled paper. And North Africa in 53. Some of these probably aren't all our notes, but Philadelphia 5 and 45. Philadelphia and 30. Here's a good one. Minneapolis and 35. No comments. We got one more stack. Finally raining. Wowzers. Another stack, and right on top, National. Tape, tape, tape. Scotch tape. Well, that's pretty cool. I don't remember buying that note. Columbus, Mississippi 5. Neat. 55 PPQ. Portland, Oregon 45. Well, these are kind of cool. These were a series of traveler's checks from Falls City, Nebraska to a school teacher who actually moved to Minnesota, and her name was Drusilla Long, and I did some research about her, and she's recently passed away, but these are from 1932, so she had a good, healthy, long life. 1914-50 and VF25. No comments. Good looking note. 1914-50 on San Francisco in VF25. Minor discoloration. The backs of these notes, it just happens. The green ink turns a little bit yellow over time. It's something that's going to happen with notes that are stored incorrectly, and also if you use PVC flips, PVC can leach into those inks and make them discolor a little bit. So, you know, if you're new to collecting, stay away from PVC, polyvinyl carbonate. It's bad juju. It's no good. 1914-50 and VF25. 1914-20 and VF30. It's a pretty easy note to sell. Nice eye appeal. 20s really don't come above VF20 very often. So this one happens to be Richmond, so it'd be a little easier to sell. Here's another 1914-20 and VF30. Good looking note. Another 1914-20 and VF25. Also notated minor discoloration in the front of the ship and the steam engine. It's just a little bit yellow. It just happens. It's just these notes. It's just how they what happens to them with time. 1914-20 and XF40. Nice bright green back. Look at the steam engine and the ship. Good looking note. 1914-20 and VF20. This one's had some heavy circulation. The corners are rounded. So if this note was like, I don't know, VF35 and the corners look like that, they would have notated corner, you know, rounded corners. But VF20, fine 15, it's just part of circulation. 1914-20 and 25. Lots of 20. I rarely have this many 20s. I must have been saving them up. You can see the back, like, look at the backs of the notes. This one's much darker green, and this one's more lighter, almost starting to turn a little bit yellow. Like I said, that's just what happens to these notes over time. The inks aren't going to last forever if they're stored incorrectly. 1914-10 and VF35. You can even see it a little bit here. The inks just get a little bit of light green tint to them. The note's super original. I mean, you can still see the dirt and the fold lines. And 1914-10 and VF30. 1918-10 or 1914-10 and 25. I can't say I've had very many 1918-10s. Maybe 2. A lot of Feds here. 35. There's a Burke McAdoo and VF25. A little bit of smuts right here. I don't know. A little bit of paper toning mark. I don't know what that is. It's not rust. $931A and 30. $924 and 30. St. Louis Burke Glass and a VF20, so that's a good note. A little better. Kansas City and VF30. You can tell on this note too that it's just a little bit of yellowing going on. It's just what happens. Super nice portrait though on Mr. Jackson. Believe it or not, it's the only president to ever pay off the national deficit. Ever. Burke Glass, 1914-5 on Boston, VF20. Another Boston White Melon in 25. Good looking note. New York, A51C. C's are a little bit better than A's. B's are tough, C's are the toughest. A51C is probably the most common for the whole series though. A51A, 25. Amazing. Nice note. 855A and 45. This is what you call perfect trifold. You can see 1, 2, 3 from a trifold wallet. I don't know if you can see it in the... It's hard for the camera to pick up on the trifold, but... Richmond Burke McAdoo and 30. 871A and 25. Burke Houston and 35. Super bright green. Here's another Burke Glass on St. Louis, VF20. Minneapolis 876, Burke McAdoo. It's a great note. Tough Friedberg, 876, VF25. $879A and 45. That's just kind of how they come. $880 and XF40. It's a good looking note. $886 Dallas and VF25. I think this is the first 886 I've had. So this is a Burke Houston. The more common ones are 887A and 887B. 891A and 35. It's a good looking note. Another 891A and 30. Super bright green. This was another thing we were discussing. So these are both 891As. Look at the color difference between the front and the back. On the later serial numbers, most likely printed around 1927, usually in the 7 million and higher. I think it's million. Yeah, 7 million and higher. The backs are more light green, and on the earlier stuff, under, I think it's right around 60 million and lower, they are more of a dark green. So there's definitely some transitional things going on at the BEP at these times. The color of the ink on the back of the later serials are much more consistent with what we see on small size 1928 series. So 891A, see, this is another thing. Light green back, 7 million, 70 million serial. 258 and fine 12. Tough note and problem free. And then finish off with 1187 and 25. One more gold cert to add to the pile. Great to have some back. All this inventory be heading to eBay. Try to pump some of it out today. We have another bunch of stuff back that I need to get sorted and priced. So anyways, thanks for watching. Shoot me a message, like, subscribe. I'll try to get back with you. I did have a request for how to fill out a grading submission, so I'll do that one of these mornings. I'll do one from each company, PMG or PCGS, and the different tiers and kind of how their values work and their shipping works. The way we do it's probably a little bit different than the way a collector would do it, but I've done it both ways, so I can explain.